Hey guys, so the wild card round is over and I am 4-0 after the wild card round. I had a great round. It was just really good picks, and to be honest, all the games were pretty much blowouts. It was kind of surprising. I mean, I would really expect three of them to be blowouts because the Steelers were much better than Miami. The Seahawks were, well, a lot better than the Lions since Matt Stafford had that finger injury. And the last game, the Texans, actually I didn't think would be a blowout, but I mean, it's not surprising since Connor Cook was playing, who didn't really get snaps with the first team. So that's not really surprising. But the Packers destroying the Giants was really surprising. The momentum shifter was obviously the Hail Mary that Aaron Rodgers threw, which I went absolutely nuts about. It was unbelievable. I really think it's just unbelievable. He's done that 3 times in the last 2 years from the 50-yard line. It's just sick. So these are going to be my divisional round picks. I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, before I go over my first pick, since you guys enjoyed me guessing the spreads, and I was actually pretty decently close, I'm going to guess the spreads again. That's why I'm making the video so early this week again on Sunday night rather than Monday night. One spread did come out, and that's the first game I want to go over, which is the first game of the weekend, the Seahawks versus the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons are a 4.5 spread. The Seahawks did look very, very good last week. They destroyed a bad Lions team, in my opinion, because Matt Stafford had that finger injury. The Falcons is a much, much better team than the Lions. I know the Falcons don't have a great defense, and I know the Seahawks played really well on defense last game, but I'm going to pick the Falcons to win this game because they, I think, have probably the best offensive weapons as a whole on their team, with Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, Matt Ryan as their quarterback, who's been playing great. I know Matt Ryan has not won big games like in his career, but I think this will be the time that they win. It is in Atlanta. It's not in Seattle. Atlanta is 5-3 at home this year. Seattle is 3-4-1 away, so it's not a great away team. I would take them because I don't think Richard Sherman will be able to guard Julio Jones and stop him completely. You don't have Earl Thomas coming over the top either. So, I mean, I know you have Cam Chancellor, but I just really think that the Falcons are going to win this game because of that dynamic offense. And the Seahawks defense isn't as good as it was in the past. So, I'm picking the Falcons to win this game. I expect the Falcons to cover the spread with -4.5. The over-under is 51. I'd probably take the over. I'd probably take the over in this game, over 51, because the Falcons' defense is not good. Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback, and even though the Seahawks' defense is very good, you're playing pretty much the #1 offense, in my opinion, in the Falcons. I really think the Falcons are going to put up at least, I would say, 27 points. And maybe 30, yeah, at least 27 points. 30 to 36 is my range for them. And Seahawks should put up 24. So this is going to be a close game, but not close enough where it's going to only be -4.5. I think it's 30 to 24. Falcons win. Next game I'm going to go over is the second game on Saturday night at 8:15. It's the Texans going to New England. This spread, I would say, since there is no spread up yet, or at least I don't see it on ESPN, I would say the Patriots are a 14.5 favorite. Yeah, I would say Patriots -14.5 against the Texans. They are home. The Patriots are just a lot better of a team. I know Brock Osweiler did actually play pretty well last week, but the Patriots are just a total different monster. And you know my rule. Like the Patriots, you take the Patriots and you take the spread. It's going to be close to the spread. I think the Patriots are going to win by 16, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be 12.5. It's going to be right at that 14 to 16 range the Patriots win. You always pick the Patriots. You always pick them against the spread, unless it is playoffs, but they are playing the Texans, which is the worst team in the playoffs right now. So you got to pick the Patriots, and you got to pick them against the spread. I know the Texans have a good defense. I know they have Jadeveon Clowney, but Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are the greatest at game planning against defenses. They're the best at it. And they're going to do quick slants. They're going to do quick slot receivers. Tom Brady's going to get the ball out really quickly, and they're just going to be able to run all over them, too, with LeGarrette Blount. They're going to establish the run with LeGarrette Blount, which will give them more time in the pass game, and then they'll throw to Hogan. They'll throw to Edelman. Edelman's got to be huge in this game if they want to win by the spread. He does not have to be huge in the game if they just are going to win, because they're going to win either or. I mean, Brady will find someone to throw the ball to. It's that simple. The next game I'm going to go over, I'm going to go out of order because I'm having a really, really hard time figuring out who is going to win between the Chiefs and the Steelers. So I'm going to go over the Cowboys versus the Packers first. You got the Packers going into Jerry World after a great performance against that Giants defense, one of the best cover defenses. They were great making adjustments after the first half, the second quarter, and just ran a lot of slants. And they were playing, the Giants were playing zone, and if they played man-to-man, they would have made a double move, and Aaron Rodgers would have beat them long. So, yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was just being Aaron Rodgers. And they lost Jordy Nelson, I know. They've lost Ty Montgomery. We'll see what the injuries are going to come up. I hope Jordy Nelson plays, and I hope Ty Montgomery plays, at least one of them. I really hope one of them plays because they're big parts of this offense. But I'm going to pick... Even without them, I'm picking the Packers to win this game. The spread's going to be Cowboys favored by, I would say, 5. I would say the Cowboys -5 since they are home, and they are 7-1 at home this season. They're very good at home. But I'm not picking against Aaron Rodgers. I'm really not. He played very well. He made the plays that he had to make against the Giants. And the Cowboys' strengths are different on defense than the Giants' strengths. First of all, the Giants are just better on defense in total. I know the Giants have a much worse offense than the Cowboys do, but if you were going to pick something from the Giants they were good at the passing game. If you're looking at something the Cowboys are good at, they're good at the running game. So I really think if you make Dak Prescott have to throw the ball, which means you have to get ahead of them early. The Packers have to get ahead of them, which I think they'll do, because I think the Cowboys defense is not going to be able to stop Aaron Rodgers like the Giants defense did in pretty much the first half. Even, I mean, if you take the Hail Mary out, which, I mean, you can't really, that's just BS. Don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers, that's a skill of Aaron Rodgers and a skill of that wide receiving core. But if you take that out, they pretty much stopped Aaron Rodgers and held him in check, even with that and without that. So, but I don't think the Cowboys defense is capable of that. They don't have the cover corners like the Giants do. They don't have the defensive line like the Giants do. So I think Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a shootout. And the Packers played pretty darn good on defense, I know, against a worse Giants offense, but you got all you got to do, in my opinion, is put 6 in the box. Maybe even 7, do single coverage, and I know Dez Bryant's going to beat you. Well, make Dez Bryant beat you. Make Dak throw to Dez. Make that happen. Because I would rather, if they beat me that way, then they beat me that way. And I don't think they'll be able to. Dez will get 100 yards, but that he needs touchdowns. And I think the Packers will be able to outshoot out the Cowboys. So I'm going to pick the Packers to win this game. I'm going to pick obviously against the spread, I'm picking the Packers. I would say +5. Even if it's straight up, obviously, or the Packers are favored by 1, I would take the Packers. Now, if the Packers are favored by 3, which they're not, because that's never going to happen. The Cowboys are 13-3, 7-1 at home. Then you take the Cowboys. But obviously that's not going to happen, so I don't even know why I'm talking about it. You take the Packers, you take the spread of like +5, +3, and it's settled. I really think the Packers are going to win this game. All right, I know I went really in-depth with the Dallas and Packers analysis. I just felt that it was needed, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you thought it was too long-winded. But just to go into the last game, I did my research. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Kansas City Chiefs. I was originally going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. I actually made a clip saying I was going to pick Kansas City, but I waited, and I did more research, and I found out that Kansas City's defense is overrated. Kansas City lets up 17th most passing yards. And against Big Ben and Antonio Brown? Really? No. And I know this season the playoffs are different, but that's not that different. And the rush defense, they're like 25th out of like 32. And you're not going to, and I'm sorry, Le'Veon Bell, you're going to beat them with one of them. At least one of them with Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown. As long as Big Ben does what Big Ben does and does not make mistakes, the Pittsburgh Steelers will win this game. I think the spread will be Kansas City -1 at home. And I know Arrowhead is an extremely hard place to play. It definitely is. And I'm taking that into consideration. But I'm going to go with Big Ben, that 3-headed monster, over Eric Berry and Justin Houston. And I know there's an offensive side. But Pittsburgh gives up less passing yards on defense than Kansas City does. And gives up less rushing yards on defense than Kansas City does. And I know the defense doesn't play the defense, but... And then you say, what about points per game? Because that's the most that matters. Kansas City is 7th. They let up, if I am correct, which I'm looking it up right now as I'm making the video, They let up 19.4, and Pittsburgh lets up 20.4. That's 7th and 10th. So it's not a big difference. And who do I trust to score more points and go over that average? I mean, I trust the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. In Kansas City, I know Alex Smith is a good game manager, and game managers do go to AFC Championship games, and even sometimes even win Super Bowls. There's a few of them, and some even go to Super Bowls. Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl. Mark Sanchez went to 2 AFC Championship games. So, but I'm sorry, I can't pick Kansas City. I know the defense is good. I love Eric Berry. Eric Berry's my favorite safety in the league, but that three-headed monster will be too much. And you got Eli Rogers, who's been good all season and has been a good option for Ben Roethlisberger. So I'm picking Big Ben. I trust the three-headed monster. I would take Pittsburgh with whatever the spread is, and unless it's ridiculous. But I mean, if it's within 3 of each team, you take Pittsburgh, you take the spread. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for commenting, subscribing. Everyone, thank you everyone for just everything, guys. I really do appreciate it. I got over 1,000 views last week. I really do appreciate all your love and support and everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks so much for watching. Have a good weekend, everybody, and have a good week.